Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Shout out to all the subscribers as always. Much love, and thank you to anybody new locked in. Gratitude to you. Thank you very much. Let's talk about the keys to victory for SUBRIEL Matais. I just made a video about the keys to victory for Liam Paro. Thank you to anybody that watched that. That is up. I'll leave the link up here. But in that video, I was explaining I don't think Paro should go for the knockout. I think he really needs to box. And maybe like if he can hurt Matias with some of his power shots or get some respect, so be it. But I think his main goal should be to box, and I think they're going to try to do that. But Matias doesn't really allow you to box. That's the problem. You know, his defense is actually quite good. It's very underrated. You know, his athleticism is very underrated. I'm going to talk more about that in this video. I'm going to show you some examples. But this clip I'm about to show you is a prime example of, like, you know, I was saying to Paro how he should bap, 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 and then turn, move, you know, let your shots go, let your combinations go and turn. Especially he's got a check hook, a right hook where he can just use that and turn. But the thing is, you can have a pocket of success there, but then Matias is on you seconds later. And there's this clip right now where he's fighting Ergashev, which I don't know who recorded it. It was from like the almost looked like ringside, but it shows you bam, 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 turns him, bam again, and then Matias just takes those shots. He blocks a lot of them, and his defense has gotten so much better in the last 2 years since he's been with Panda. Because of the fact he keeps his hands up is one. He's less reckless with it, and he's just more responsible and conservative with just not being so careless and walking fighters down with his hands down, which does work, you know, but you don't need to do that because you can systematically break somebody down anyway. Just be a bit smarter about it, and that's what they've been doing. Started against Ponce, just keeping his hands up, absorbing a lot of the pressure, and then he was doing it against Ergashev as well. And he takes the shots on the gloves, blocks a lot of them, turns, and after 5 or 6 punches, maybe one gets through slightly, he's back on you. All right, that is absolutely exhausting. That's an exhausting way to fight, to have, which Paro would have to do. Okay, so you've got to either get his respect, which is virtually impossible because he's got an amazing chin and he's just tough as nails. But one of the keys to victory for me actually is the preparation that Matias puts in, which is the training camp which he does in Mexico at high altitude. And I say that because the way he fights, you have to put a good training camp in. All right, you have to do the insane mileage and take your body to a place that is just awful, right? And I mean that because that's how you strengthen your mentality, and that's how you get your conditioning up. If you notice, his powers of recovery are elite. That's his conditioning, right? It's natural too, you know, but it's like you can improve it by being a beast in the gym. That's how you get your conditioning. That's how you recover from hard shots. Against Jukenbaev, who nailed him a couple of times, he just reacts. And if you look, when Ananyan caught him, right, and he had him, like, he looked pretty hurt to me, but then he was up like that on the ropes, and then he comes back firing, you know. You know, because he's just a warrior. He is a warrior. And the same against Jukenbaev. When he had him hurt, he just comes firing back, and he just wants to throw punches right back. It's a little hot here in New York City, so if I'm sweating a little bit, apologies. It's about 90 degrees, 80 degrees today, something like that. Anyway, that's one for me, which already we know he's a professional. So the preparation, all the road work, all the sparring, all the hard camps that he puts in. You know, there's a debate to be had about hard camps, you know, whether you go through wear and tear. I get that, but that will put you in a mentally, spiritually amazing place. It really will. And as I said, it will help with his conditioning. And I think for me, if you're going to, you know, it's obviously a homecoming in Puerto Rico. It's a huge fight for him. It's a huge event. It's a big stage. It's his first fight with Eddie Hearn, which, by the way, I don't know where the promotion is for this. You know, hopefully I can do some of that with his film study, because it's kind of a preview music film study. But where's all the promotion for this? You know, I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest with you. It's like next week. I know the tank fight is on the same night, which is good and bad. It's great to have competition, but it's like, as boxing fans, we don't really want 2 good cards on the same night. It's a really good fight, Tank versus Frank Martin. I'll do a keys to victory on that week of, but you know, I know Eddie Hearn's been busy in Saudi Arabia. Maybe that's why. Maybe he's bit off a bit more than he can chew. Hopefully not. But we'd like to see some promotion now, Eddie. Let's get it going, because you know now's the time to really, if you've got two fights on the same night, two big rivals, okay, that could be good and bad. It's bad that they're on the same night for fans, but at the same time, it's now your time to show who's the better promoter, because you got to get you got to get your eyes on the fight, right? And so we want that, and it'd be, you know, disappointing if they don't do any kind of you know, HBO 24/7s, they do stuff like that. Something, they do a smaller version of it. I'd like to see something like that. But keys to victory, another one, part 2, Matias's jab. Massively underrated jab, right? It comes in awkward. It catches guys off guard because it's so unorthodox. His whole style is just unorthodox. Some of the combinations he throws, I'll show you one right now. He throws a left hook to the body, jab, right hook to the body. That is a weird combo in itself.
Left hook by Matias.
Right, but his jab, and he will throw a great swivel jab, and his athleticism and his footwork they're way faster feet than you would think, because he can look a little clumsy sometimes, but actually his athleticism is top notch. And I'll show you this clip when he did against Ponce. Well, I'll show you where he hit Hawkins with a swivel jab, and he closes the gap so quickly with a jab, and that could be very dangerous against Paro. And I'll get onto the jab in a second, because I want to talk about his athleticism, and I'll show you this clip where he literally leaps what looks like he's almost walking on air. I'll slow the clip down because his back foot is planted, and then he just moves it, and then as he looks like he's about to step, he moves his foot again. And then he gets another few feet out of it, and then he takes one more step, and he's right on Ponce, who's already on the ground. But that just shows you how quick he can close the gap. If Ponce wasn't on the ground, he'd be there. So his athleticism is next level, but his jab is so unorthodox, and he'll throw it from down here, he'll throw it from up here, and he'll just ping guys like that, bap, like that, and it'll just crack them, and that can be an entry point. If you hit them with the jab, you know, it can hurt because he's so heavy-handed, right? It's like this guy is gonna be, I swear, he's gonna be so virtually impossible to beat because of his clinch game as well, and his beard, and his power, and his spiritual toughness. This guy is a spiritual warrior, and I'll talk about that in the film study, because it's deeper than boxing. He's not there to box with you. He's there to eat your soul and chop it in half. That sounds so bad, but like, he is. He's not there to win a points victory. Man, it's hot in here. I've got to get the AC going in a minute. Thing is, if I put it on, it's too loud, so just got to deal with the heat. But jab, let's back to the jab. I'll show you several clips. Paro leaves his lead hand, right? He's a southpaw, but he leaves it very low, okay?
Alright guys, so I forgot to mention this part in the video. This is actually the clip where Paro got dropped against Alamo. So thank you to the subscriber, Koki, I think that's your name. Apologies if I mispronounced it, but this is the clip where Paro gets dropped. And if you look, you know, he actually gets dropped with the right hand, but it's his jab that's a bit lazy, and he tends to come in with a slightly lazy jab, and he always has his lead hand quite low. So it gets countered, and I'll show you some clips after where several times he gets countered with that jab quite easily. But, you know, this is the footage that you can't find anywhere because, you know, Matchroom or somebody is taking it offline, but that's the clip. And then we'll see these here. This is just a few examples of Matias, how he's willing to throw the jab anyway or whenever. And here's a clip of Paro getting countered constantly. And sometimes when he gets countered, it's actually, you know, a bit more impactful than you would like. You know, it really affects him. So imagine Matias catching him with his jabs, heavy-handed jabs, just snapping his head back. Here it is again. Matias just commits to it. You know, I couldn't find that many, I was a bit short of time of Matias jabbing, but I've seen so many clips where he just throws his jab at unorthodox angles and repeatedly. So I'd expect that to be a big weapon, and especially if he's coming behind it with the two back with a swivel jab as well. There's a lot of opportunities, but I think he's going to be able to, you know, time Paro with that jab over the top for sure.
And Matias has got very long arms, actually, very deceptive. His speed is deceptive, and his timing is deceptive, and it's awkward, and it's unorthodox, and he catches guys off guard. And I'm telling you now, he's going to be a problem with that jab for Paro, all right? Because Paro, like I said, he drops his hands, but he's been caught languishing a little bit with the jab. And if that jab catches him and it puts him on the back and he suddenly gets in close quarters, the fight is done, because you cannot fight Matias on the inside. You're going to lose. I'm sorry to the Aussies out there that are watching this. It just is what it is. I'm objective. You just got to be honest, you know. Paro's a great kid. I wish him well. Got all the respect in the world, but this is an absolutely brutal ask. And you know, if he doesn't get his jab going, or he doesn't get out of distance enough, and he's not going to bring that hand up, that's not his style. But if you're going to have that fighting style, you either got to get off the line or get out of the distance, you know, or move your head a little bit more. You can't just stand there and get jabbed by a heavy-handed fighter that's already on his way in, you know, and he'll throw these weird combinations that are just going to, you know, be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Paro is in an absolute nightmare fight, to be honest with you, the more and more I think about it. Yeah, so I'm going to show you a clip, right, from the film study, because I want to, it's a little test about whether some of the footage is actually going to get through, you know, the YouTube overlord censorship from the I like it, compare it to like the Matrix, the Sentinels, you know, when they're Nebuchadnezzar's flying through that little thing, and the Sentinels look at you. That's the way like these videos are. It's all AI, you know. Most of it, I think some people might be watching, but at the end of the day, I'm going to play you about 1 minute's worth of music and some clips. I'm going to be narrating on this when I do the final film study, and I haven't quite finished the words, but check it out. This is just a part where it's like the intro, and I talk about Matias's cadence, and then I talk about his jab, and then I tie it in with Paro and how he can't afford to be on the ropes. Check it out. Yeah, so that's that, and that's probably about 8 or 9 minutes long, the film study. It's a really big piece, and you know, I'm very excited about it. So I wanted to show you a little bit now, because I've been talking about it quite a lot, and I wanted to see if it gets past YouTube's, you know, corporate bosses. But so all right, so we got the conditioning, training camp, preparation. Be a beast, because you fight like a beast. You have to train like a beast. That's his style. It's part of the territory. It comes with the territory. But he said he did a 10-month. He was in the gym for 10 months before. I'm not sure if it was a Juken Bayev fight or the Ananyan 2 fight, but he said that post-interview.
Creo que se trabajó, ¿verdad? Durante 10 meses.
I'll pull the clip up.
Para este momento, entonces.
Even though Showtime blocked the video.
Creo que no había por qué preocuparse.
Right? They blocked the clip just from an interview. You know, so I've got to be careful with these with the footage, but he's a beast in the gym. He's willing to go to places other fighters aren't, and that's part of why I absolutely adore his style, because it's like, you know, you're talking about a special human being here. You know, I've got so much love for special human beings that take themselves to these places. I really do. because it's like you do it then, you know, like you could say to your opponent, okay, you go to high altitude and you train for 10 months. Well, I'm not saying he's doing that every time, but this is what you do. This is like, okay, up to you. What are you willing to do? And you put fighters, let's just say you take another pro and you put them in a Matias camp. Can you do what he's doing? I wonder how long a lot of pros would be able to last. Probably not very long. That's the difference. And that's the preparation, the key to victory every time. Because you can take a punch more, you can recover more, but you're mentally, you know you have not left one stone uncovered, unturned, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Key to victory number 2, the jab. His jab's going to be a key weapon here. I really think it will. It could be a good entry point just to score, but to catch Paro off guard with that weird timing, so then he can just, the heavy-handed shot will throw him off, and then he's in, and he's just going to destroy him, you know. I wonder how early it will be. I'm guessing, at first I thought Paro might last a bit longer, maybe 7 or 9, but I'm thinking like 6 or 7 at this point. You know, maybe 5. I don't know, man. It is a tough ask. Last one for me, which he's been doing, is just keep your hands up. Be defensively responsible, because he catches a lot of shots. He can wear guys down from them throwing shots at you. You catching them. He rolls nicely, and you know, actually, like his movement. I'll pull up a couple of training clips where his movement is actually quite nice. He's just a fluid. He's a far underrated boxer, skill-wise, than people realise. And he's got all the other intangibles: check heart, check chin, check power, all of it. He's an absolute nightmare to deal with, and I do worry about Liam Paro's chances, you know. But at the same time, you know, Liam Paro's gotten a lot better. He's conditioned himself and got into physically good shape. I've spoken about his back. You know, it's looking stronger and tougher, and he's maintained the weight. He's a professional. So, excuse me, he'll be in great shape. Could be a good fight for a few rounds, but if Paro can't get his respect early, he's just going to get walked down and beaten up. And not to mention Matias' clinch game. I made a video about that, a full video where and you know, actually Paro's clinch, this is actually another interesting part of the fight. Paro's clinch game has gotten a lot better. And he's quite physically strong as well. You know, he's got a bit of power, but I think his physical strength is better than his power. And his technique on his clinching is good as well. And actually, I'll show you a clip from an old fight that he had. And thanks to that guy, someone in the comments left a video where Paro had a fight with this South Korean guy, which I watched. And that is very eye-opening, because that was a lot of pressure he was taking. And he was struggling a little bit with the pressure. And that, you know, that was a few years ago. He's a different fighter now, but he wasn't really clinching that well, and he was getting bullied quite a lot on the ropes, languishing on the ropes. Cannot afford to do that. Can't afford to have a high guard like that right in front of Matias. If he's going to be able to hold him, I wouldn't advise fighting with him, but you can certainly clinch and hold him and just try to neutralize him as best as you can. You know, it's like, you know, when you're playing basketball against, you know, Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kobe, you can't stop them, but you can minimize what they can do, right? Same with like Lionel Messi. You've got to just slow them down as best as you can. You're not going to stop them from doing what you're doing, but you could take their input down a bit. And when you're Paro, just, you know, try to just be tough, get in there, shut your shots down, protect yourself, turn him and get away from him for a couple of seconds until he's back on you. Oh God, what an animal, bro. I've never seen anything like it, I swear. What an absolute animal. What time is it? 15 minutes. Wow, bit of a ramble today, guys. Look, I'm going to call it now, but I appreciate you. I'm going to leave another clip from that film study. Hopefully they get through, and hopefully I'll be able to get that full film study out. That will 100% be out on Saturday or Sunday. And I know I promised to do it before then, but I thought it would be a better idea to get this video out to articulate some of the things I couldn't put in there and then bring it all together. And then I know I've made a lot of videos about Matais. I know I've made a lot of videos about this fight, but you know, this will probably be the last one. Maybe one lead up to if something else happens. I'd love to see some promotion from it, you know? And I'd love to hear from you guys. And it is hot as a hell in here. I've got to put the AC on. I hope you have a great week. What is it now? Thursday? Wednesday. I'll probably get this out tomorrow morning. And I cannot wait. I'm also going to go live for the Paro-Matais fight. Matais-Paro fight. So I'd love for you to join me. But more on that because I'm going to do a live test run throughout the week just to see and get everything ready so it's all good. But that's it from me. Peace and love. Have a great one.
Boxing.
On it.